nice to see both Mr. and Mrs. Kain. Great to see you both and everybody else.
So, Alex, I will tell you, I got to pass on one more message to the guys from Force. John said if you could just stay at the office, he's ready to come over and he's going to have a meeting with y'all tonight. So,
I like it. I like it. I'm here.
he didn't say that. So, Alex, we've got a lot to talk about. Obviously, we've had probably the most unique year ever in automotive, and let's take a moment just to make sure that several members of the audience are relatively new to automotive and they may not know some of your background. So why don't we start there? Tell us a little bit about your background, why you got into digital, and why you still remain very bullish on this part of the business.
Well, look, first of all, thank you, David, for having me, and thanks to all the veterans on the call today. And I couldn't join most of today, but I got to pop in a little bit, and I was impressed with all the products I just saw in Shark Tank, and so congratulations to the Spin Car folks as well. But I thought everybody was incredible. So what do I say about myself? I've been in the industry for now, I think it's somewhere around 20 to 23 years. I'm not really a car guy, but I've always been a technologist and got involved in automotive by accident and have fallen in love with the people that make this industry go. I was raised by small business owners and operators, and so I grew up around local business owners, and I really believe that technology normally destroys the little guy, and I think there's a unique opportunity in automotive to use technology to actually keep the small business owner at the center of our industry. And I think that's really important on a number of levels. I think the world would be a really sucky place if we only had a few big giants and not enough community. So I think that's a little bit more about who I am. And I'm a student of the game. I pay attention to what you guys are talking about because you're typically focused on the next wave of innovation in the industry. And I like to buy companies that are on the forefront of new emerging trends, and then hopefully expanding them using our company's platforms.
Well, so that'll help everybody who's sitting there thinking, well, heck, I might not have won that trophy, but I might have me an investor here that wants to help me out.
Those are some great products.
Alex, 2020, oh my God, next year, 5 years, 10 years from now, people are going to say, wow, I was driving down the highway and it looked like 2020 broke out. They used to say that I went to a boxing match and a hockey game broke out, meaning a calamity, right? Just fist and 2020 has been a fist fight for automotive retailers. It's probably been a fist fight for vendors in the space. I was talking to the incoming president of NADA, and he said one of the big fears he's got of not having the NADA convention is that so many vendors won't have an opportunity to show their wares and to have 20,000 dealership personnel walking through the booths. You can talk from both sides of this. You talk to dealers literally every single day. You're in the market. You pay real close attention to how companies are surviving. Tell us a little bit about your view of 2020 and what you've had to reckon with.
Well, look, I'll start by a message to the sellers or the vendors out there. I mean, I remember loading up a bag full of AOL diskettes every day and going out and installing modems for dealerships to get them on the internet. So don't rely on a trade show. The best way to build a business is to go door to door. And word of mouth really does work. If you do right by your customers, good things happen. Look, David, 2020, you couldn't have imagined it, right? We were set up to have such a great year in that we were growing dealer count. Traffic was flying for us. At the end of 19, going into 20, we were taking more market share from anybody. And then COVID hit, and like all of you and your guests, I think none of us could have ever comprehended what we were going to go through. I'm actually really pleased with how well the industry adapted. If there's one thing I love about this industry is that, You don't back a small business owner into a corner. They come out fighting and scrapping, and they find a way. They always find a way. And so, we sit here now with record profitability across the industry, which is tremendously exciting. I think as students of the game, we should really study, well, what happened and what did we learn through this, so that we can use that that experiment, if you will, and put our business forward. I think when I think about COVID, what I'll never forget is, Google, I love them dearly, but they took $4 billion of our industry's auto spending. It almost went to zero, and we didn't miss a beat. And so you got to ask yourself, why were we so sold by so many vendors to spend all your money in search engine marketing, buying terms and clicks, when it wasn't driving true incrementality to our stores? And I think if we look at the consumer packaged good industry, you're seeing the exact same revelation in CPG, right? This isn't just auto. CPG is saying that once someone searches for my name and or my product and services, they're coming my way. I shouldn't have to add more marketing dollars to that sale. Marketing is all about incremental efficiency, not about just paying higher taxes on business that you would otherwise get. So that's one big experiment. I'll give us a shameless plug here a little bit. The other experiment was most vendors, including maybe not the ones that you had tonight, because they all sounded like outstanding citizens, but a common pitch a lot of people make to dealers is, Mr. Dealer, cancel the third parties and put all the money into your own brand. And that's how a lot of these vendors make their living, because they come after the big evil third parties. And don't get me wrong, most of the third parties are for crap and you shouldn't spend money with them. Just stick with cars. We'll take care of you. But I kid a little bit, but what I would say is that, we too cut our marketing budgets because of COVID, because we provided financial relief to all our dealers and just couldn't spend all the money. We had to lay off people and do all the difficult things many of you did in your business as well. But our traffic soared. We had almost 30 to 40% increases in our total audience, despite spending a lot less in marketing. And so that makes me sleep well at night, because obviously the majority of my revenues come in through my marketplace model. And it to me, it just shows, and hopefully shows dealers that, consumers want this trusted third-party validation. I mean, I bought a grill recently and I spent like 6 hours looking at barbecue grill websites, no sellers, but rather these blogs that talk about it. And so Cars is a research platform, but the goal of it is really to bring people from research into local dealerships business. And so there was a lot of lessons learned in COVID. I think hopefully dealers realize that digital has to be the forward strategy. Your showrooms are beautiful, but your digital storefronts are really what's going to enable you to have record profits, beyond this year.
Well, so let's talk about that storefront mentality. I can't tell you how many dealers on this broadcast, or perhaps that I've interacted with in 20 groups and other settings, have said to me, I'll be so glad when we can get back to having the guests come into the showroom. All this nonsense about taking cars to customers and at-home deliveries and at-home test drives, that's just craziness. What do you say, as an experienced industry observer, and what does the data show? Because I would assume you all, as a research company and a data company, probably have your ear to what consumers are thinking about. What do you say to dealers who say, man, I can't wait to go back to the way it used to be?
Look, let me start with the good news. The good news is that after a decade of people telling me that my company was going to go under because dealerships weren't going to have a future, or the automobile is going to be replaced, everyone's going to ride share or take other forms of transit. I wish I had all the people over the last decade that have told me the death of the dealership and the death of the automobile. COVID has definitely done one thing, which has brought automobiles back. Our research shows that consumers, 57% of recent purchases said they bought a car partially because of COVID, that they wanted to have a safe, reliable car that they can get around. The car is now seen as an extension of our home. We're all trapped inside. Even if there is a cure, David, people are afraid of mass places and public places, and your car is an extension of your home. And our research shows durably that people don't want to hop back on airplanes. We'll put out a release on Monday that talks about the majority of Americans are going to drive for the Thanksgiving holiday if they go anywhere. And so I think this is a lasting impact. I mean, the automobile is not going anywhere, and it's going to be around for a long time. Now, on the dealership side, certainly I think the record profits this year are great. But I will tell you, David, if everybody goes back to their old ways post-vaccine, you're going to see winners and losers in a big way. If you can learn anything from the digital dealerships that are having huge market caps, is that they're running very asset-light businesses. They don't have the big showrooms. They don't have all the overhead. And so they're able to operate with a lot more efficiency. And the worst thing I think that we could all do as small business owners is go back to thinking that the old way we used to do it is the only way forward. You can do these things digitally. You can use technology and run your businesses on a fraction of the cost, and obviously with a fraction of the headcount, because we've been doing it this year.
Yeah, no question. So from the consumer's perspective, what are you hearing with respect to their desire? You know, we see these big Carvana commercials and Vroom commercials out here in the West. You think that there's a rollback, you know, on every highway, on every street, dropping off a vehicle. Let's talk about home delivery.
Yeah, no, look, I think that's a great example, and I appreciate the segue. I mean, you know, during the heart of COVID, we knew showrooms were closed, so we started talking with our engineers on what we could build to help dealers, you know, sell despite being closed in their showrooms. And our product team, you know, did an incredible job rolling out home delivery badges. We were the first to do this, and we had an immediate take rate. About 4,000 dealers instantly signed up. We're, I think, just under 10,000 dealers today that have opted in to promote that we will deliver cars within a geographic radius of our dealership to your home. Now, I've heard some dealers don't want to do that because they've invested so much in their physical plant, but that's a bad way to think about it. Think about it this way. Of the dealers that have opted in to offer home delivery, they're getting 30% more volume off our platform than those that don't.
Wow.
And that to me underscores a real consumer preference. They're scared about going in the showroom. I mean, you've got people that won't go into a Starbucks, right? The last thing they want to do is go into spend, you know, hours in a showroom or even a department store. So if you don't innovate on behalf of the user, you're gonna lose here. And so I think home delivery is for real. I think dealers can set boundaries on how far they're willing to take a car or get the customer to even pay. But that's a better option than not embracing the trend. But I think home delivery is here to stay.
Wow, that's very compelling. And so when you think about how people are consuming media for cars, and you saw the presentations we just saw, and Spin Car, you know, was voted as the advancing thing, and Auto Lead Star is putting your merchandise wherever, you know, want to walk around the corner and Auto Lead Star's got an ad going up in front of me. And of course, the guys at Force Marketing, very innovative with their OTT strategies and some of the in-display videos that they've got going on. It reminds me of your fuel product and some of the innovations you all have had to make at cars, because, you know, if you go back and you say, well, you know, I remember when I started selling cars in 1982, as a salesperson, I would sit in the car while the Metro Piston salesperson was taking a photograph, and that's how I marketed myself. And then the ad, it would say, ask for David. And so nowadays, everything is so advanced. Which way do you go? And from a media buying standpoint, you guys are well beyond, you know, your original platform, and you're doing so much more. You acquired Dealer Inspire and all of the big brains that come from that organization. You've got Dean Evans now driving the fuel organization, and no telling whatever else you're into. But let's talk a little bit about why you all are making these strategic investments.
Well, look, I think if there's one common theme to our business, you know, we started out just as a marketplace, and what I noticed about all marketplaces is they engineered their search results and their business model to create a race to the bottom. They either charge dealers for access higher up in the search results, or they did funny badges that made dealers lower the prices of their cars to climb up in the results. Either way you look at those models, eventually when everybody does them, you start selling cars at a loss. And so we've set out on a pretty ambitious mission to expand the business from just cars.com into a network of companies that all have one common theme, which is to help dealers differentiate on other dimensions than price. Look, don't get me wrong, price is hugely important for shoppers. You've got to be competitive in pricing, but you don't need to participate in models that either arbitrage you as a dealer or arbitrage your inventory profits. And so whether it's Dealer Inspire, who help dealers differentiate through their technologies, Dealer Rater, which really helps dealers amplify the reviews and reputation so that you can understand why buy from my store, or Fuel, which gives you power to tell whatever creative message you want about your business. There's a common thread there, which is, not making the dealer the victim of a technology strategy or company. And so we're looking, always to add businesses that bring organic value to the dealer. And then we've got a robust sales platform. We can help distribute the technology or the product or service. And, probably no better example to share just the success of that strategy than, my friend Joe Chura, who's right here.
Hey. Hello, Joe Chura.
I brought in a guest speaker.
How you doing?
Hey, I'm surprised Joe is able to stop from his workout routine. Surely to goodness, you're supposed to be lifting some weights, or you're probably doing some squats while we're talking.
It was burpees for Veterans Day today.
Oh, yeah. So Joe, you've been a featured speaker at not only our event, but also at several of our 20 groups over the years. Tell us a little bit about website design and some of the things that you guys are doing in your marketing strategies, because this is a real treat to be able to pull off of your imagination as well.
Well, I mean, website designs, it's no different than when I spoke at your conference a few years ago. It's all about speed, but I take it a step further and say it's all about answering a consumer's question quickly. A consumer goes to a website, they have a few common questions. Typically, it's like, what can I afford? I have X amount down, I can afford this payment, here's my credit score, show me a list of vehicles that are right for me. So that is how we approach things, and we approach them in a way just to answer consumers' questions as quick and as efficiently as possible. And then also work on the ability to, when a consumer leaves or gets off the website for whatever reason, that they can come back and pick up where they left off. Because that happens as well, especially on multiple devices, right? I know I'm in front of the television set, I'm on my phone, I get excited about something I see, it might motivate me to go to a dealer's website and start figuring out a payment on a car. Well, if I leave that experience and I go on my desktop later, I want to pick up where I left off. So it's that seamless experience. And I think it's really just about the easy button, and that hasn't changed, but it's just with technology advancing and the things we can do, I think we got better at answering consumers' questions quicker.
Yeah, no question. So years ago, you showed the technology of the voice-driven search, yeah. and I know you've made advancements over that. So many of us rely on that. My wife and I, we don't, because we kind of still like using our thumbs on the thing. But how has voice technology changed, and is it a big driver for both of your key components?
Yeah, adoption of that voice search has definitely gone up. It's so new and different that it's hard to, you don't want to have a banner on the homepage saying, hey, just talk to your website. But subtly we are pushing customers toward trying that. And obviously on the mobile phone, where it's most important, it uses Siri and you're able to talk to your phone and get a curated list of vehicles. So the next step there is getting into the Google Homes, Amazon, Alexa, and all of those things. So, and cars.com is a perfect application for that, to curate that list of vehicles as well.
Yeah, I would just imagine. So, I'd love to kind of harmonize you guys, but let's talk about 2021. We're all jonesing to get the hell out of 2020 and close that door and put a bolt on it and keep that monster behind us. But a lot of car dealers are sitting there going, I'll take a 2020 again, if my family's healthy and, if this economy comes back and we're going to be okay and people have job security. What's the prognosis from you guys? You all have so much information coming at you. What hopes can you give us for 2021?
Well, I'll start, and Joe, please add in. I mean, I think what we are seeing definitively is the manufacturers are heating up. This has been a booming used car market for a number of months, and you can bet that manufacturers are taking note that they missed out on a big opportunity this year. So I think the new car companies are going to come in big, they're going to come in hard, and they're going to come in swinging incentives because they need to make volume up. So I just think you're going to see a robust consumer market. I think the COVID impact is not a temporary one. I think everybody wants to upgrade their vehicle, and people are taking less vacations. They're spending less money on other luxuries, and a car, again, is a safe extension of the home. And so I think we're in for a decent year. I certainly know right now we're feeling a little softness. I think that's driven more by the current environment and the uncertainty that we're sitting in the middle of. But I generally think the durable trends of vehicle ownership are going to persist. And as long as dealers embrace technology, they're going to have a great year.
Yeah, I echo that, and I think that our mission is to enable the dealers to compete with the larger digital dealers, right? We see a lot of big dealer groups going the way of the Carvanas, and we have the tools and the resources and the audience to have a Shopify-like experience between Cars.com and Dealer Inspire that's going to create less friction for the consumer, but more importantly, less friction for the dealer, allowing them to scale and empower their operations in a way they never have before.
Wow, that would be awesome. And I will tell you, you worry about credit markets, you worry about job security and so many things. And car dealers are no different than farmers, right? If it rains, God, it'll never stop raining. If it stops raining, this hadn't rained for days. And, there's always that worry. And there is no farmer's almanac for automotive. So we have to rely on each other and come to conferences like this, albeit virtually, to be able to do this. So I can't thank you all enough for what you're doing. I've got a daughter, and Eve and I, we just celebrated our 36th anniversary. So, here's what Eve made a comment the other day, and she goes, I will not have seen my two of my children for almost a year. And when you think about that, regardless of business environment, we've all kind of been through a big challenge. So I don't know which one of your all's families cooks vegetarian, but our daughter in Chicago could probably use a Thanksgiving meal. So we'll have to reach out to you and try to do that. But she's a hairstylist, and she's Alex, she could do something with your hair there, buddy.
I need to get cleaned up.
So any parting words, Alex, anything that you'd like to wrap up with?
Look, I just want to say, David, I mean, you're 100% right on your analogy for the industry. And I just want to recognize you and your family for your leadership to always try to keep us connected, communicating, and inspired. So thank you for allowing us to be here with you today, and for all the people that joined as well. It's a real high honor for us.
Excellent. And if anybody would like to just put any comments in the chat for Alex and Joe for joining us, we'll save those and we'll pass those along to them. So, gentlemen, thank you very much, and y'all enjoy the rest of your evening.
Thanks, guys.
Take care.